I would like to share with you today a story. It's an everyday story. A mother and her kids are out to lunch one sunny summer afternoon and decide to go clothes shopping. Heading over to their favorite strip mall, they happen upon their local pet store. Bored with clothes shopping, the kids decide to slip into the pet store next door, where they find a fresh shipment of baby puppies. The kids ask and beg their mom to come into the pet store, and before you know it, the mother herself has fallen in love with one of the puppies along with her kids. They pick up the one that they like, they pay, and, well, they head home. And this sounds like a great story, but there's another side to this story. See, most of the pet stores in your local communities are using puppy mills to supply their stores. And due to the horrific conditions at puppy mills and the severe overpopulation crisis, the most responsible way to buy a pet is through adoption at your local animal shelter. Hi, my name is PJ Weber, and today I want to explain the problems associated with puppy mills, their causes, and the practical solutions we can take to help solve these issues. I have put together a handout and would ask that you open to page 1, slide 1 of the PowerPoint presentation. Puppy mills have been around for decades and create some huge problems for both you, the consumer, and for them, the puppies. Puppy mills are producing anywhere from 2 to 4 million new puppies a year in an already overpopulated environment. The ASPCA stated this year that because of the result of breeding of millions of new puppies at puppy mills, many of these animals are born with behavioral and health problems. Many of these dogs are raised in wooden wire pens, treated inhumane, and often physically abused. And most, will never in their lifetimes get to leave their pens, will never get to feel grass underneath their paws. The ASPCA acknowledged in 2006 that these puppy mills are responsible for approximately half of the dogs found at all animal shelters nationwide, many that will be euthanized. In an already sad environment where these dogs find themselves, many will never make it to a natural lifespan. Those that don't get brought to a no-kill animal shelter will eventually be transferred to a facility that does. The average stay for a dog at an animal shelter is approximately 45 days, and then are either euthanized or transferred to a facility that will. The conditions at puppy mills are horrific and inhumane. Puppy mill kennels can be anything from a small wooden wire mesh cages to tractor trailer cabs or simply dogs tethered to trees. In Arkansas, a puppy mill had dogs imprisoned in cages hanging from the ceiling of an unheated cinder block building. Well, what are the causes? Well, if you turn to page 2 of the PowerPoint presentation, the causes aren't the laws in place, but the lack of enforcement. The Animal Welfare Act of 1966, which provides strict laws and has been amended 6 times. Many of the programs nationwide are severely underfunded. The ASPCA and PETA both acknowledged in 2010 that with drastic cuts to state budgets, further cuts to law enforcement funding, and even more cuts in the federal budget, puppy mills will likely have little to worry about when it comes to being held responsible for upholding legal and ethical standards. According to the Humane Society, many of these animals are being sold online, and buyers are many times from great distances. Puppy mills may be exempt from the Animal Welfare Act altogether, especially if the animals are coming from places like Canada or Mexico. Many ask why these are still in existence, but we are only to blame. Without demand, puppy mills would likely shut their doors. If communities passed local legislation banning puppy mills in their local communities, operators would be forced to move or just perhaps close altogether. So, what do we have to do to make sure that we're doing the right thing for animals? Well, I'd ask you to please turn to the 3rd slide. We have the power to make the right and practical decisions when buying a pet. Adoption offers the opportunity to give a dog a home. Most times, animals that have been adopted from animal shelters have had a complete veterinary checkup and are all vaccinated. In many circumstances, the shelters or adoption agencies can tell you the history of the animal and why they were at the shelter in the first place. Even though some people won't utilize adoption for reasons of wanting a specific breed of animal, they too can make sure that they use a reputable breeder who is ASPCA and state certified and inspected on a regular basis. Even though many of us disdain the idea of puppy mills, many of us have unknowingly supported them throughout our lives with the purchases of puppies from pet stores, and therefore must bear some of the responsibility for these animals' suffering. Because of the horrible conditions at puppy mills and the severe overpopulation crisis, and the most responsible way to buy a pet is through adoption at your local animal shelter, I would hope that you will take with you what you have learned today when deciding whether to buy a puppy at a puppy store or by visiting your local animal shelter or adoption center, or by working with a certified ASPCA and Humane Society breeder. Lastly, on the final page of the PowerPoint, I'd like to give you some great websites that can help that you can use to help combat puppy mills in your local community. If you see something, say something. Question the obvious. Thank you and have a wonderful day.